Hello, I promised that I would have a go at doing some videos. I've been writing an awful lot this last few months over the summer holidays, and now I'm back at work. I'm kind of carrying on doing it, and I plan on continuing to do it. But I thought, as I promised, I would do a few videos just to see if that worked, if that was a good way to get ideas and information out there about autism and being autistic and all those things that I tweet about all of the time. I thought I'd start with something quite straightforward for my first video, mostly because this isn't exactly what I'm used to doing. So something nice and short, nice and straightforward, nice and easy. And then maybe in time I can do all singing, all dancing, crazy stuff, you know, long lectures about goodness knows what. I thought I'd start with just nomenclature, you know, how we refer to autistic people or people with autism, as a lot of people seem to really want us to call ourselves. I don't think I've gone a day on Twitter for a long time now without being reminded that I must be very careful, because the preferred terminology is person with autism, and I must remember that, because that has been stated on training courses of various kinds across the country, and therefore my personal experience as an autistic person is not in any way as important as that, obviously, because I didn't go to this training. I just am autistic, you know. But there we are. I'm being cruelly sarcastic. I know that it comes from the right place. The people who talk about this, the people who like to remind us all that the correct way is person first, I think, generally speaking, their heart's in the right place. It's a bit arrogant, I think, sometimes. You know, they just kind of stroll into a conversation being had by a few autistic people and say, oh, hold on a moment, you're not using the right language. So that's a bit off, but I genuinely think that they're trying to be, I don't know, helpful or nice or something like that. So I don't want to be too cruel about it, but I do want to state quite firmly that, you know, on one hand, if you yourself are not autistic, then obviously you have to take a bit of a step back and listen carefully and respectfully to the people who are, and how they feel about things, and how they want to how they want to use language to represent themselves and their friends and their, you know, the people they know. I think not doing that is just rude. It's just a rude, uncivilized, unsociable thing to do. But there's more to it than that. I think there's a lot of misconception about autism and what it actually is, and not least among these is the feeling that it's a disease, it's an illness, it's a mental health issue, presumably that you can, I don't know, contract somehow, catch, or obviously the other end of the scale, be cured of. And as we know, that's not the case at all. I have, though I've only been diagnosed for a few years, I have clearly always been autistic. You know, as a child, as a baby, as a teenager, as whatever, you know, it's always been there, and it's not going to go away. We don't know what, I've got no idea what to look forward to, because there's no research into that area. So I don't know what I'm going to be like in 30 years' time, but it will still be there. I can guarantee I will still be autistic. So it's not a disease. It's not something that will come and go. It's not something that we can hopefully one day, you know, fingers crossed, be rid of, you know, and then move on to live a happy life. And I think that's what person with autism hints at. I think person first language is very good for illnesses, diseases, because, you know, you don't, well, generally speaking, I don't think people want to be identified or seen as just being their illness. You know, I can understand entirely why person with cancer would probably be preferable to cancer person. That doesn't really, you know, cancer patient, cancer person, sorry. I can see that, I understand that, but cancer is a very different thing. It's a very different condition. It is something that you will be trying very desperately to cure yourself of and to lose and to move on from. And autism just isn't like that. And I think if we use person first language, then we're always subtly reinforcing this idea that autism is something that can be removed or cured. And I just don't think that's a very good idea. I really don't. We have enough on our plates as it is in terms of misinformation, generally speaking. We don't need to add to that. And if just the simple case of describing people with autism as autistic people in the same way as you would describe them as, I don't know, happy people or blind people, deaf people, there's a preference there, I think, in those communities for condition first language. There's less chance then of inadvertently spreading this horrible idea that we autistic people have a disease that we desperately want rid of. Obviously, not everyone feels this way. There are plenty of people out there on Twitter and elsewhere who are less than happy about being autistic, and that's entirely fair enough. You know, there are times where I don't feel particularly chuffed about that whole situation, and I don't want to say that these people are wrong, because they're not. They have their opinions, but I do think that there are a lot of us out there, a lot of autistic people who recognise and realise that this is who we are. There isn't very much we can do about that. There are positives, as I did in my thread tonight. There are positives and there are negatives. But what we need to try and seek to do is to try and make our journey through all of this, you know, through life, through being an autistic person and an autistic adult, as trouble-free as we possibly can. You know, I spend the majority of my day in a state of tremendous stress. I'm sitting here now playing with this little chap because I'm stressed. I'm intensely stressed all the time, and I'm actually taking his legs off repeatedly, which is cruel, but it helps. We're stressed all the time. We've got enough stress in our lives. We don't need to add to that. And if people can try and reduce a little bit and make us feel a little bit less other, or a little bit less weird, or a little bit less broken, or a little bit less poorly because we're autistic, then that would be a very nice thing. Okay, so I think I'll finish there. I don't want to go on for too long, but I will do another video at some point soon. So have a good evening. Bye-bye.